Hello and welcome back to this edition of Daily Actives brought to you by Bootleg Macro. I'm Dustin. We are looking at DJT, better known as the Donald Trump Index, the Donald J. Trump ETF, or the Donald J. Trump SPAC. I'm not quite sure. I don't look at the fundamentals of these things. And to be fair, the type of price action I'm seeing happening right here, I don't think has any fundamental research behind it either. But that doesn't mean anything because this is the company of the former and potentially next president of the United States of America. Now, if we look at the actual performance here, we can see that we've got on a 1 day. This thing was up over 4.5% or nearly 4.5% over 15 days. Over 5 days, it's up nearly 15%. On 15 days, it's up over 127%. And on the 1 month, it's up over 154%. Do you think people have an idea of who they think is going to win and where are they putting their money? Because I would say it's definitely going here. Now, the only issue I would see is that we're at $35. We are not that far away from the top of the range, only 10% away. The middle to the bottom, the mid bottom is at 60% below. So that's a little scary. And the action line is 52% below. Now, if we go ahead and look at the raw data, I want to call something out that's really important to me, the way that this is actually set up and what actually signaled to me that this was bullish. Now, number one, we see the price when we have the red with the black lettering and or the red lettering with the white background. That means there's 2 to 3 standard deviations above its 23-day moving average. You can see here on the 4th of October, this thing broke out above its 5-day moving average. It was well above its 20-day moving average. And one of the things that I want you to call out and notice here is that you've got 5 of these orange spikes. Those spikes associate to the actual volume breakouts here. Those are when the volume of that day is above the 10-day moving average of that volume. That's remarkable. We had 31 million, 47 million, 44 million, 48 million, 49, and 99 million shares traded on the 15th of October. So when we're looking, we can see that the price is getting ridiculously stretched over not only its 23-day moving average, but relative to where it's come from. This thing is back at prices that it hasn't seen since July, and it did it in just a little over a month. I mean, not even actually, when we think about this, the bottom here was on 924, and now where we are only a few, like 30 days later, is incredible. Now, what I do like to see is that on my indicator, you see we got the price to rise. This is going to be based purely off of volatility, which we'll cover in just a little bit. But what I love is that when I'm looking at the way that you can tell, just based on the visual cues here, when you see the 1 month, 15-day, 5-day, and 1 day all flip positive around the same time, that's a great indication. That would have been a great signal to buy here when it was $18.39 in DJT. But if there's anything that's even better, it's when you see this 3 month pop. Now that we're at 14% and 24% respectively over the past 2 days in terms of the relative performance of the rolling return, I would feel even more comfortable buying this. Now, a lot of people would say, "Oh, you didn't get it when it was $18, you didn't get it when it was $5, you didn't believe." Yeah, you're right. I don't believe. And you know why? It's because I don't look at the fundamentals. I don't know what's going on with this company. This company could be making 100 billion, it could be losing 100 billion. I have no idea. All I'm doing is paying attention to when the price action is telling me that I should be paying attention. Now, if we look here at DJT in terms of the signals, we can see it's been on a go long for a while across the short term, intermediate term, and longer term. It's been bullish for a while. If we look at the actual rolling range here, this thing is nuts. Like to be very fair, this thing was pretty much left for dead in the middle of September. Again, as we called out, it had a crazy run since the 24th of September. You saw it here, and if I go over to my actual signals here, one of the things I do like is that I can see that with the Swift Bull coming on, it looks like the 19th and 20th. If we look at the way that the rolling sentiment has been, this thing has gone bazonkers. Like since the 10th, this thing is now well above 60% on this actual fast trend. If you've watched my videos before, essentially this kind of indicator is going to top out around 60% and it's going to bottom out around 40%. It wants to be in an equilibrium. You're never going to see something get to 100% bullish or 100% bearish. It's just not the way the market works. There is mean reversion. Now, if we look at the overall trading signals here, I will say I'm quite impressed by the fact that this thing did push out some buy signals on the 7th. Again, we call out that $18.39. Push out another buy signal on the 8th when it was at $21, and it pushed out another buy signal on the 10th here at $24. Those were all great signals to buy. I wish I would have bought them myself. Now, if we go ahead and look at the actual, the overall range here, one of the things I want to call out, we called out the range just earlier, is that this is a remarkably wide range because the volatility has completely broken out. You had a very clean trend, essentially downward, all the way until it looks like again the 23rd, the 24th, and then things completely changed. The top of the range continues to scream higher at $39. The bottom of the range is just starting to curl up, but it is way down here, $4.22. That is not indicative of where we're going to go at all, but that is just indicative of how much volatility we've seen. Now, if we look at the volatility price correlation, and this is what I wanted to call out when we were talking about volatility on the previous tab, when we were looking at all the raw data, you can see that volatility continues to break out. We're at 10.66 right now. It essentially bottomed here on the 11th. If we're going all the way back to a day where it may have mattered, you can see So it changed here on, remember we're talking about the 24th. When the volatility started to fall and the correlation started to fall, that's very, very positive. That's actually generally a signal of a very slow and steady uptrend inside of a stock. Now you can see that we are starting to rotate. We're coming positive while the volatility is breaking out. See, the blue lines are above these red lines because this is the price to volatility correlation, and this is just the volatility itself. These things are incredibly bullish when you take them as individual indicators and when they're a combination of other additional ones, as well as the price just being incredibly high. Now, this is going to be the day that we talked about the 99 million shares. Obviously, that's the largest day of volume that we've seen in the entire year. I think that's probably one of the largest weeks of volume, except for when this thing initially aired. Oh my goodness. So the very first week that this thing came out in 2021, they had 632 million shares traded just in that week. That's remarkable. If we look here at the daily sentiment, again, we're well above 60%. We're at 68%. It's going to pull back. You can see that line's got to roll over. But when we look at the overall stock, things look fantastic. But tell me what you think in the comments below. Are you long? Are you short? Do you like it? Do you love it? Is this even a good review? And before you go, subscribe to the New High newsletter. We send you 25 stocks to your inbox every single Sunday. Stocks breaking out to one-year highs, stocks breaking out to all-time highs, stocks under $20. It's a great list to get your trading week started. I'll talk to you soon.